श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु। गणेशाय नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय। ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमण्यवउतो तैषवे नमः। नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुदते नमः। या तैषु शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः। शिवा शरव्या या तव तया नो रुद्रमृडया। या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशिनी। तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ता विचाकशीः। या विशुं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे। शिवां गिरित्रतां कुरु माहि गुंसि पुरुषं जगत्। शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्चावदामसि। यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत्। अद्य वोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक्। अहीगश्च सर्वान्त्यं भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः। असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः। ये चेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षु श्रिताः सहस्रशो वैश्चागुं भेडयीमहे। असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः। उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नहार्यः। उतैनं विश्वाभूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः। नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे। अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानोऽहं तेभ्यो करन्नमः। प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोराग्नियोर्जाम्। याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वप। अवतत्यदनुस्वगुं सहस्राक्षशतेषु ते। निशीर्य शल्याणां मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव। विद्यं धनुः कपर्धिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत। अनेशन्नस्येष व आहुरस्य निषङ्गतिः। या ते हेतिर्मीडुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः। तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा। नमस्ते अश्वायुधाय नातताय धृष्णवे। उभाभ्यामुदते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने। परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् गृणक्तु विश्वतः। अथो य इषुदिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम्। नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्रयम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशां च पतये। नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्मिञ्जराय द्विषीमते पतीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्रुषाय विव्याधिने नानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथा विनेक्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्तपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनां पतये नमो नमः उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे स्तेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिन इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः सृकाविभ्यो जिगागुंसद्भ्यो उष्णतां पतये नमो नमो श्रीमद्भ्यो नक्तञ्चरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नमः उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः शिष्टभ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः व्याधिनीभ्यो विविद्यन्तीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः उगणाभ्यस्तृगुंहतीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गृत्सेभ्यो गृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो महद्भ्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथिभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः सङ्ग्रहीतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः इषुकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिभिष्टाय च नमो नीरुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नमः आशवे चाजिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शीघ्राय च नमः ऊर्ध्याय चावस्वन्याय च नमः स्रोतस्याय च दीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय चापरजाय च नमो मध्यमाय चापगल्भाय च नमो जघन्याय च बुद्धियाय च नमः सोभ्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च कल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय चावसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय चाशुरथाय च नमः शूराय चावविन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरूदिने च नमो बिल्विने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय चाहनन्याय च नमो कृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिणे चेषुधिमते च नमः तीक्ष्णे शवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पत्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सूद्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईन्द्रियाय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च ॐ हर 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 ॐ नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमः ताम्राय च रुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो अन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्काराय नमः शम्भवे च मयो भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमः तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः भार्याय च भार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आतार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्ठ्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नमः हिरण्याय च प्रपत्याय च नमः किगुंशिलाय च क्षयनाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च गृह्याय च नमः स्तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः ऊर्व्याय च सूर्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशद्याय च नमो पगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नमः आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो वक्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वक्केभ्यो नमः आनिर्हतेभ्यो नमः आमीवक्केभ्यः द्राभे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणाम् येषां पशूनां मा भेर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चनाममत् या ते रुद्र शिवा तनु शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रभरामहे मतिम् यथा नश्यमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृति क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्चञ्चयोश्च मनुराय जे पिता तदश्याम तव रुद्रः प्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भकं मान उक्षन्तमुतमान उक्षितम् मानो वदीः पितरं मोदमातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोके तनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभाभितो वधीर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरार्ते गोग्न उत पूरुषग्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नमस्मे ते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देव ब्रूयदा च नः शर्म यच्छद्विबर्हाः स्तुहि श्रुतं गर्तसदयुवानं मृगन्न भीममुपहद्नुमुग्रम् मृडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निव पन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतिर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरघायोः अवस्थिरा मघवद्यस्तनुष्वमीड्वस्तोकाय तनयाय मृडया मीडुष्टम शिवतम शिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्तिं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विगिरित विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रकुम्भेतयो नमस्मन्निव पन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्याम् तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन् महत्यन्नवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाशितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाशितिकण्ठादिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्मिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासक्तपर्धिनः ये अन्येषु विविद्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पतां पतिरक्षय ऐलमृदायव्युलः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति श्रुतावन्तो निषङ्गिनः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वदन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये अन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नं वातो वर्षमिषवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणा दश प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु तेयं द्विष्मो यश्च नो द्वेष्टितं भोजं मे दधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु यो ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु। ये ते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्यो मर्त्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे। मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्नेनाप्यायस्व। नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि तमुष्टु हि यश्विषु सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशौ मनसाय रुद्रं नमोभिर्देवमसुरं दुवस्य। अयं मे हस्तो भगवान् अयं मे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्वभेषजो यगुं शिवाभिमर्शनः। शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव नारायण नमोऽस्तु ते। विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वर। अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वर। अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वर। हरिः ॐ तत्सत्। श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।
करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायण अल्लाह हो तुम महावीर यीशु साई नारायण अल्लाह हो तुम महावीर यीशु साई नारायण हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायण हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायण महादेवा महेश्वरा साई नारायण नटनागरा दुःखभञ्जना साई नारायण करुणाकरा अखिलेश्वरा साई नारायण अल्लाह हो तुम महावीर यीशु साई नारायण हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायण हृदयेश्वरा परतीश्वरा साई नारायण देवा महेश्वरा साई नारायण
There is no birth, there is no death, there is no you or I. There is no birth, there is no death, there is no you or I. There is only Sathya Sai, beloved Sathya Sai. There is only Sathya Sai, beloved Sathya Sai. Sathya Sai, Sathya Sai, beloved Sathya Sai. Sathya Sai, Sathya Sai, beloved Sathya Sai. There is no sun, there is no moon, Sathya Sai, Sathya Sai, beloved Sathya Sai. There is no birth, there is no death, there is no you or I. There is only Sathya Sai, beloved Sathya Sai.
नित्यानन्दा ब्रह्मानन्दा कृष्ण मधुसूदना कृष्ण मधुसूदना हरे कृष्ण जनार्दना हरे कृष्ण जनार्दना हे राम नारायणा हरे कृष्ण जनार्दना हे राम नारायणा नित्यानन्दा ब्रह्मानन्दा कृष्ण मधुसूदना हरे कृष्ण जनार्दना हरे कृष्ण जनार्दना हे राम नारायणा
Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song.
जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे
अम्बे जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे
अम्बे जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे
जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे
भाव प्रिये राग प्रिये
भाव प्रिये राग प्रिये
भाव प्रिये राग प्रिये
भाव प्रिये राग प्रिये
गान प्रिये भाव 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 प्रिये अम्बा भवानी
गान प्रिये भाव प्रिये अम्बा
महालक्ष्मी अम्बे गौरी महालक्ष्मी अम्बे महालक्ष्मी अम्बे गौरी महालक्ष्मी अम्बे महिषासुरमर्दिनी भवानी महालक्ष्मी अम्बे महिषासुरमर्दिनी भवानी महालक्ष्मी अम्बे जय अम्बे श्री अम्बे अम्बा भवानी जय अम्बे श्री अम्बे अम्बा भवानी जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे भाव प्रिये राग प्रिये गान प्रिये भाव प्रिये गान प्रिये भाव प्रिये अम्बा भवानी अम्बे जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे महालक्ष्मी अम्बे गौरी महालक्ष्मी अम्बे महिषासुरमर्दिनी भवानी महालक्ष्मी अम्बे जय अम्बे श्री अम्बे अम्बा भवानी जय अम्बे श्री अम्बे अम्बा भवानी अम्बे जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे शेरवाली अम्बे मया जोतावाली अम्बे मया शेरावाली अम्बे मया जोतावाली अम्बे मया शेरावाली अम्बे मैया जोतावाली अम्बे मैया 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 जय अम्बे श्री अम्बे अम्बा भवानी जय अम्बे श्री अम्बे अम्बा भवानी अम्बे जगदम्बे काली अम्बे जगदम्बे
साई नाम बोलो सत्य साई नाम बोलो
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 साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई नाम बोलो सत्य साई नाम बोलो अल्लाह ईश्वर ईसा मसीहा अल्लाह ईश्वर ईसा मसीहा बुद्ध महावीरणा बुद्ध महावीरणा साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई नाम बोलो सत्य साई नाम बोलो साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई नाम बोलो सत्य साई नाम बोलो अल्लाह ईश्वर ईसा मसीहा बुद्ध महावीरणा साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई माधवा साई केशवा श्री हरि नाम बोलो साई नाम बोलो सत्य साई नाम बोलो
हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा शिव शिव हर हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा शिव शिव हर हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा शिव शिव हर हर बोल महेश्वर शंभो शंकरा गंग जटाधर गौरी मनोहर शंभो शंकरा
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Nanda Kishora, Shama Gopala, Shama Gopala, Madana Gopala, Nanda Kishora, Shama Gopala, Shama Gopala, Madana Gopala, Shama Gopala, Madana Gopala, Shama Gopala, Madana Gopala, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Nanda Kishora, Shama Gopala, Shama Gopala, Madana Gopala, Shama Gopala, Madana Gopala, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, 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 Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Vithala Jaya Panduranga, Panduranga, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna,
multi-faith prayers requesting all devotees in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Sairam, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, we, the Bal Vikas children of the Mill Hill Sai Center, would like to make an offering of carols to our dear Lord. Hope you all enjoy. Sairam.
Away in a manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus lay down his sweet head. The stars in the bright sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. The cattle are lowing, the baby awakes, but little Lord Jesus no crying he makes. I love you, Lord Jesus, look down from the sky and stay by my side till morning is nigh. Hear me, Lord Jesus, I ask thee to stay close by me forever and love me, I pray. Bless all the dear children in your tender care, and fit us for heaven to live with you there. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw him, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then all the other reindeer, as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you were gone in history.
Silent night, holy night, shepherds wait at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah, Christ the Savior is born, Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, shepherds wait at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah, Christ the Savior is born, Christ the Savior is Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, over fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight! Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh! Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh!
Jingle all the way.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh! Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh!
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us a figgy pudding. Oh, bring us a figgy pudding. Oh, bring us a figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
We wish you
Until we get some, we won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring somehow here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most humble and loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of our dearest Bhagavan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Jai Sai Ram. It is now my privilege and honor to introduce our guest speaker for today, Uncle Jerry Bishop. Uncle Jerry is a long-standing devotee of our Sai Center and has previously been the center chair. During the COVID times and after, he has been an active volunteer with a charity organization called the London Kitchen, which has been providing hot cooked meals to thousands of homeless people every day across London, and was recognized for its outstanding work by Her Majesty. Earlier this week, he had the opportunity to meet and shake hands with His Majesty King Charles as part of this work. Professionally, he is a practicing chartered accountant specializing in matters relating to trusts and charities. He will be sharing with us his thoughts on the similarities between the teachings of our beloved Swami and those contained in the Bible. Please welcome Uncle Jerry Bishop.
Respected elders, brothers and sisters, beloved children, Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram.
I'm delighted to see the quality of the Christmas chocolates the children are wearing. And I think they deserve a round of applause. My talks always come with a health warning. If anyone feels the need to leave because they're upset by something that I've said, I will not be offended. Years ago, when I did management training, I had a couple of near suicides. And because people found that what I was saying resonated with them on a particular matter, and I wouldn't necessarily know what that matter was, and they would get very depressed and very low. I hope that none of you feel that way today. And just a couple of housekeeping points. Am I correct in thinking that this is being recorded, Aaron? It is. Very good. No, I've had a very specific request from the sailor coordinator of the Sai organisation in the West Indies that this talk be sent over to her because she wants to critique it and give me feedback. The power of ladies, gentlemen. Always remember, ladies are always right, even when they're wrong. And that is life's lesson for all men of the species. Swami came at the invitation of the great sages in India. The world was at war in World War I. Ramalinga Swami, Sri Aurobindo, and other great sages prayed earnestly for God to come to help save the world. And I think that's really important to put that into context as far as what Swami's mission was. And it's very clearly stated. He came to make us better Hindus. He came to make us better Christians. He came to make us better Jews, better Muslims, and so on and so forth. He did not come to start a new religion. And we often get confused in that in the Sai organization. We associate with coming to the Sai Center as going to temple. So it becomes very Hindu-centric. And we need to remind ourselves that was not Swami's mission. I'm going to ask the children some questions about Christmas. I understand last year you did a presentation on the meaning of Christmas. Am I correct? Yeah? Can I ask first, are you looking forward to Christmas Day? Are you looking forward to receiving presents on Christmas Day? Can anyone tell me what the origin of present giving is on Christmas? Gurus are allowed to answer this question as well as the children. No? After Christmas Day, we have Boxing Day. Boxing Day was when we gave boxes to people, and the idea behind gifting at Christmas was grounded in that servants would serve their masters on Christmas Day, so the house servants and the cooks and the chefs and so on and so forth in the great houses, they all had to work on Christmas Day. They all had to serve on Christmas Day. And in recognition of that service on an important day within the Christian calendar, the lords and ladies of the manor would give the servants presents on Boxing Day as a thank you for the service that they had provided. So I'd like to suggest a game for those of you that are feeling they'd like to have a game on Christmas Day. Children, for each present that you receive, I would like you to ask yourself, what selfless service have I done to deserve this present? Would you like to try that at Christmas with your family? Just a thought, no more or less than that. I'm going to start drawing comparison with Swami's teachings now with the Christian faith as far as I'm able to. The bedrock of the Christian faith is the parable of the Good Samaritan. So I'm going to read that to you now, and then I'd like to develop some of the themes that come to my mind when we're dealing with our own behavior in terms of society as we know it. And this comes from Luke, which is the second of the Gospels in the Bible, in the New Testament. And behold, and it starts at verse 25, a lawyer stood up to put him to the test, saying, "Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" Christ said to him, "What is written in the law? How do you read?" And the lawyer answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your strength, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And he said to him, "You have answered right. Do this, and you will live." But the lawyer, desiring to justify himself, said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who stripped him and beat him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Now, by chance, a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side of the road. So likewise, a Levite, and a Levite in Judaism is someone that is a minor official, a bureaucrat, who will assist at ceremonies and so on and so forth. When he came to the place and saw him, he also passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was. And when he saw him, he had compassion and went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back." Which of these 3 do you think proved neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers? The lawyer said, "The one who showed mercy on him." And Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." I think it's really important to understand the difference between selfish service and selfless service. And a question that we all need to ask ourselves when we see people in need: are we the priest? Are we the Levite? Or are we the Samaritan? And these are not easy decisions. Swami teaches us, love all, serve all. But often, in my experience, people confuse service with selfish service, wanting to be in the limelight, wanting to be in the front row at Darshan, heaven forbid, being allowed to sit on the veranda at Putta Party. The reality is, these are all aspects of ego, of me, 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 me. They're not about humbleness. They're not about being simple and straightforward in one's dealings with people. It's really hard to make that transition. If you ask Sai devotees to come and do service, they will all say, "Yes, please, yes, please, yes, please." And we had this when we were doing the work at the Hare Krishna farm at Aldenham. But over time, people drifted away. And I was asking myself throughout that period, why is this going on, Swami? What lesson is it I have to learn in relation to this experience? And of course, this tenacity to hang on in there and keep doing selfless service is very hard to do. And it's not just a question, "Oh, I did some good today. I'm a very clever person. I helped out at the farm today. Aren't I being good?" All of these are just expressions of ego. And we have to realize that these are the tests that Swami puts in front of us. Help ever, hurt never. Hands that serve are holier than hands that pray. Very few of us are blessed with the ability to follow Swami and to study at great depths under Guyana Yogi. It's really, really difficult to sit and study the books. Very few people, in my direct experience, have this capacity. Swami kept on and on and on saying to us, selfless service, back to yoga. This is the key to salvation for the vast majority of people in the world currently as we speak. People ask me, "Well, how do you get involved in all this stuff, Jerry?" Well, I don't think I have very much to do with it, to be honest. Within a week of leaving the centre, 2-3 years ago it must be now, Parasham from Food for All, rather than London Community Kitchen, came round to me. I'm the reporting accountant there. And he said, "Jerry, I'm really worried about riots on the streets." This was just at the start of COVID. All the churches, the Sai organisation, all of them had pulled out of central London, feeding the homeless because of the fear of COVID. And he said, "How can we move the charity from serving 1,500 meals a day to 5,000 meals a day?" So we spoke for about 2.5 hours, and Para doesn't do meetings. People don't believe that I had a meeting with Parasham for 2.5 hours because he's very much a doer. But he said, I want you to take responsibility for Watford. So I ended up having to organise the Gokula Cafe and other feeding projects that we evolved over the 2-year period there, and which is still ongoing. And that includes feeding school children in Harrow once a week with 140 meals. We have an excellent baking team, and this is really good because this cake that they make, which is eggless, is in great demand everywhere. We do a project on Fridays at the Meriden, which is a large estate on the south side of Watford. And what's special about that particular project, and what I've been particularly thrilled and privileged to be part of, is this is local people serving their community. Our job is to supply the raw materials, the fruit, the veg, the hot meal, and the other bits and pieces that we come up with. But they take responsibility for serving the people in that community. And when I'm with very wealthy people, they say, oh, how do you stop people taking advantage of the food distribution? And I said, and I quote the Meriden Project, I said, we have local people, and they know who the Mickey takers are. They know the ones that are taking liberties. They know the ones that are being selfish rather than selfless. And therefore, they police it far better than you or I could do. So I'm really pleased to have been involved in a very small way with that project and its ongoing service in the community. Many of you will know that I'm very, very fond of the Hanuman Chalisa. It dawned on me about 2 years ago in discussions actually with Krishna Subrahim, another ex-president of Mill Hill, that Hanuman was the servant of the Lord, as I'm sure all of you know. What I believe, and I believe this very strongly now, our great fault in the Sai organization is we want to have a project which everyone can get involved in. But the danger is it becomes an ego trip for those that are at the center of the project. And I've seen this time and time again over many years. So my thought is there a possibility that we could step away from trying to say this is Sai, because Sai came to make us better Christians, Jews, and so on and so forth? Why not go and serve in another charity and demonstrate to Swami that your life is his message, which came out very clearly in the carol that Swami sang to us earlier today? It's much harder to do selfless service for an organization that is not Sai-based. You are representing Sai, and if you think that Swami doesn't see what you get up to, trust me, he is the best auditor that I've come across in my life. I've had to defend Swami and followers of Swami on at least 4 separate occasions in the last year, from people outside the organization making complaints about the behavior of Swami devotees. I came out of the bubble of Mill Hill. And trust me, you really have to have that inner conviction when you're challenged, because people will challenge you in terms of what you are and what your beliefs are, when, because of the nature of people in the Sai organization, that you then have to basically apologize for what they have done. Now, let me assure you, the Sai organization does not have a monopoly on bad behavior. I have done charity audits for the wrong side of 40 years in my professional capacity, and all charities suffer from this dilemma. My heartfelt wish is, as a Christian, that I can follow the teachings of Jesus in the parable of the Good Samaritan. It's very hard to do. For children, when was the last time that you were cross with mommy and daddy? Someone nearly put a hand up there, which is excellent. It starts with the family. I won't embarrass children by asking you if you did Padamaskar this morning to mom and dad when you got up. But it is very simple things like that where it starts. And the good practices start at home. When was the last time that you asked mom if you could help her with something? These are self-audit points. We have to do this 24/7. This isn't a question of, oh, today's Sunday, I wear my Sunday best, because in the Christian faith, that's what we do. We dress in our Sunday best. We go off to church. We do the knees down, to use the correct terminology. And we think that we've paid God a great service because we've devoted an hour of our time to go to church on Sunday. And if you're really good, you'll go to confession as well. It doesn't start and stop like that. It's continuous, 365 days of the year. And I know in the Balvikas classes, as you get to the more advanced classes, they do encourage you to do a daily self-audit. And this is really, really important because you've got to range check on what you are doing and the impact that you have on others. Swami gave many examples of this. And I remember, and it's a story I have told before, but I will repeat it because I think it's appropriate. Everyone wanted to have an interview with Swami. They thought that this was the pinnacle of their devotion to Swami, that he had actually recognized them as an individual, because we all want recognition, and then deigned to give them an interview. I was at the ashram early in the morning, queuing with other devotees. And we went in. At about 7 o'clock, Swami came. We'd sung Bhajans. And then this mother and daughter were selected by Swami for interview. And I saw them running to the interview room. Not walking, running to the interview room. They were so excited. Swami was actually going to have dialogue with them. After the session was over, after the meeting was over, we went outside and we used to have a puri breakfast. That was what really kept me going. It was lovely because one had not eaten anything until after the service was over, which is part of the Christian tradition. One does not eat before the service. So I've not had anything to eat today, so I'm looking forward to the nibbles afterwards. And I put my hands up, apologize, but that's the way life is. And my friend Krishnamurti, I was traveling with at the time, knew the husband of this wife and daughter. And very unusually, Swami did not invite the husband in to the interview. They were looking very sheepish, very drawn, miserable faces, trying to get away from the experience that they had just had, and the taxi pulled up and they could not get into the taxi quick enough to leave Whitefield where the interview had taken place. So I'm thinking to myself, as a poor miserable sinner that I am, what on earth is going on here? Krishnamurti spoke to the gentleman who lived in the ashram at Puttapati, who was an elderly gentleman who was not in the best of health, and his wife and daughter lived in the UK. Swami had torn them off a strip because they were more interested in being in the West, doing retail therapy, having a fun time, and not looking after their husband and father, who was not a well man in Putta Party. So I would always say to people, oh, why doesn't Swami give me an interview and whatever? I said, beware having that interview with Swami, because he knows everything, trust me. I've mentioned that he's a fantastic auditor previously in my conversation. Trust me, if you think you're going to get away with something, and this is particularly true for the children, Swami knows. You may think that mum and dad don't know, but that's not important. What's important is that you know that Swami knows that you've not been a good boy. Does that make sense to you? Good. That's what I wanted to hear. I've gone way off track from the talk that I was going to give, but that's what Swami does to me. I have about 3 weeks beforehand thinking about the talk, not sleeping particularly well at night, and generally thinking about it 24/7. So I don't always thank people for asking me to give a talk, because it does knock the sleep pattern out of sync. I mentioned earlier the great sages wanting to pray to ask Swami to come and save the world at the time of World War I. One of the carols that the children sang today was Silent Night. Now, Silent Night was a carol that was written in the mid-1850s. There's actually a museum in the town of Harlein in Austria dedicated to this carol. First Christmas of the First World War. You had the men in the trenches in terrible conditions. And the death rate was enormous. The whole military campaign left an enormous amount to be desired. And suddenly on Christmas morning, the German troops started singing Silent Night. The English troops responded. And that was the start of the Christmas Day celebrations in the middle of that World War. Someone found a football and kicked it into no man's land. They actually played football. The opposing troops got together teams and played football during that first Christmas, and it all was triggered by a bhajan that had been written for Swami. The generals were really incandescent with rage that this truce had been essentially negotiated without them making the decision. So they stopped it after that first year. But it's still there in the history books of that experience of how even when people are fighting to the death, there is also an alternative way of reaching out and communicating. Part of my professional practice is doing probate work. I'm one of a small number of chartered accountants that have passed the exams, and for the last 3 years now, I've been dealing with non-contentious probate matters. And probate for the children is when someone dies, they leave a will, and then the will has to be executed and so on and so forth. If you think that you've got discourse in your family, trust me, you are not alone, because practically every case that I take on the probate circuit has its internal squabbles, and it's all to do with money. In esoteric philosophy, money is the engine of karma. And if you are ever asked to pay to get a privileged position, listen to what Swami taught us. You cannot buy your way into heaven. In fact, there's a wonderful passage in the Bible where Christ says it is very difficult for a rich man to get into heaven. In fact, a camel could pass through the eye of a needle more easily than a rich man going to heaven. One of the rebuttals I had to do, and this was 2 weeks ago, was actually to a lawyer friend, and he knows a Sai devotee who had given quite a substantial sum to Swami and was put a party and had expected to sit on the veranda because he'd made this large donation to the Sai organization. He was permitted to sit in the front row, but what was going on in his mind was the jealousy of those people that were on the veranda. So I had to explain to my lawyer friend, who's a Sikh, he's not a Sai devotee, the meaning behind what Swami had done. Of course, to me, it made perfect sense. The guy thought, because I've given this big donation to Swami, I should be given privilege and allowed to be closer to Swami in terms of when he did darshan. Whereas the message for that individual, yes, you are right to give money because you have money and therefore you share it, and the Samaritan parable tells us that with the 2 denarii point. But don't think that this qualifies you for being closer to God. And this is the sort of things that one has to deal with. I'm going to refer to my notes now because there were a couple of other things I really wanted to bring out, if I could, in this morning. 7 years ago, from memory, yes, it would be then, Brother Faiz Mohammed from the West Indies phoned me from America, and he posed a question to me. He said, Jerry, what are Mill Hill doing about inclusivity? I was unable to answer him. He visited the centre. He gave a talk shortly after that because he was on his way to put a party. And that was one of the points that he brought out. He said, that's what's on the Bush Telegraph in the States and in the West Indies, inclusivity, and then the World Conference that occurred. And then I met the West Indies delegation on the way back, and they came back really quite positive. But for me, what resonates with me in inclusivity means all, not just the chosen few. And the trap we fall into, let's take Bhajans. We all, those that wish to sing, all wish to offer that as an offering to Swami. We all think that we're the best bhajan singer. Sadly, that's not always seen by others, but that is their shortcoming rather than, I know that I'm really, really good. I was really pleased to hear children singing a bhajan in the session this morning. I know centres in the Sai organisation where they do not allow children to sing bhajans. And I quote directly from a workshop that I went to, the elders don't consider the children good enough. I felt sorry for the old elders because their ego was getting in the way in making that call. I come from a background of it's okay to make mistakes. He is the past master of saying that to us. Because how do we develop and grow and progress on our spiritual journey if we do not make mistakes? You must give people a chance. Now, if they mess up that chance, then they need to be given the proper, thoughtful, loving, kind feedback on how they can develop and grow. But what you'll find is when people, most people make a pig's breakfast, excuse the expression, of a particular thing, they have the insight, they have the opportunity to learn, and they will not make the same mistake again. Some of you may remember Brother Basker, who was a trustee on the Central Committee, and he came and gave a very, very good talk here, but he did a session with the children afterwards. He did two things. He challenged the children to have an electronic-free day. No mobile phone, no computer, no TV. And the shock horror on the 35 children's faces in that room when he said that, I just smiled inwardly. I was so thrilled to see that he'd posed a question that children could relate to. And I bring that to you today as a reminder of what Brother Basker said all those years ago. But he related a story in his talk of what he'd got up to as a boy with one of his friends. And they'd done smoking. He thought that he'd got away with it because his parents did not know. Swami calls his parents and him, and he was about 10 years old at this time, for interview. Swami pointed at the boy and just said, "Pongo," which I understand is smoking. And Brother Basker did not know where to put himself after that. Try going electronic free for a day and see what happens. See what changes occur around you. That applies to the adults in the room as well, I hasten to add, but they will find it much more difficult. And I look to you children to encourage the adults to follow that lead. Is that something you think you could do, children? You're all shaking your head the wrong way. We need to develop assertiveness training in Velvikas following all of that. Right. I haven't actually seen Brother Giridhar doing a pirouette at the back of the room, but he's giving me a nudge. So I'd like to finish. And I'd like to finish with a quote from Corinthians. And this is the way of love. And I really wanted to use this to finish off. You often hear it at Christian memorial services for people that have passed away. But it just resonated really well with me in terms of what Swami's teachings are and how that there's that synchronicity, that congruity between Swami's teachings and Christianity from my own personal point of view. And this is from Corinthians chapter 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. For our knowledge is imperfect, and our prophecy is imperfect. But when the perfect comes, the imperfect will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall understand fully, even as I have been fully understood. So faith, hope, love abide, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Jai Saram, thank you all.
Thank you, Brother Jerry. That was an amazing talk, very insightful. Just a couple points that I think I'd like to summarize from that talk. The difference between selfish and selfless service. Which one are we doing? We should not want to be recognized for the service that we're doing, except we just offer it to Swami, because that is the point of service. That's the opportunity that we've been given. There are various ways of interpreting this, and I think in Sai Center for us Bhajan singers, as Satish Anko and a lot of other older, wiser people say, when we sing, we shouldn't sing to show off our talents, but to offer it to Swami and to carry the audience, because that is the point of Bhajans, Namasmaran. And the other takeaway that I found that I actually really resonated with is that Swami came not to create his own religion, but to guide each person along with theirs. So keeping this in mind, I think I'd like to say, thank you very much for the talk, Brother Jerry. Another round of applause for Brother Jerry. If we can have 2 minutes for silent meditation now.
Amritam Gamaya. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
जय
परमं पवित्रं वामाविभूति परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूति परमं पवित्रं वामाविभूति परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूति परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं भावाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि भावाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि Holy and supreme is भावाविभूति Holy God is the stream of viभूति So spacious is its height with constellation भावाविभूति परमं पवित्रं भावाविभूति परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूति परमं पवित्रं भावाविभूति परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूति परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं भावाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि भावाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि
Om Shri Sai Ram. For the quote for the week, I'd like to invite Dave to read it.
Om Shri Sairam. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, Jai Sairam. The quote for the week is, where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is truth. Where there is truth, there is God. Where there is God, there is bliss. Baba, Jai Sairam.
Thank you, Dave. For the thought for the week, I'd like to invite Abhaya to read it.
I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami, respected elders, brothers and sisters, Jai Saram. Thought for the week. This is the story of every one of you. This world is the jungle in which you roam. Fear is the lion which drives you up the tree of samsara, worldly activities. Anxiety is the bear that terrifies you and follows your steps in samsara, so you slide down into attachments and binding deeds, through the twin roots of hope and despair. The two rats are day and night, which eat away the span of life. Meanwhile, you try to snatch a little joy from the sweet drops of egoism and mind feeling. Finding at last that the drops are trivial and out of reach, you shout in agony, in risk for renunciation. Calling on the Guru appears from within or beside you. and saves you from fear and anxiety. When you call out in all sincerity, the response will certainly come. Give up all low desire and call from an anguished heart. Baba Jai Saram.
Moving on to today's announcements. Center updates. Mill Hill Sai Center will be open as usual on Sunday the 25th of December. We will have Vedam and Bhajans. Today will be the last day for Bal Vikas for the current calendar year. Classes will resume on the 8th of January 2023. New Year Bhajans. As in the previous years, we will welcome the new year with Bhajans on the 31st of December from 9 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Please join us with friends and family. As a result of this, the center will be closed on Sunday the 1st of January 23. Anyone desirous of singing bhajans are requested to practice the bhajans after the morning program today in the bhajan room. The UK National Pilgrimage to Prashanti Nilayam. The Sri Sathya Sai organization of the UK has announced a national pilgrimage to Prashanti Nilayam from the 31st of July to the 6th of August. Further details will be announced in due course, but the plan is for people to reach Parthi on their own by the 29th or the 30th of July. Mill Hill Sai Center will explore the possibility of us going together and will contact you in the new year. Homeless Shelter Service Project. Since July 2021, Mill Hill Sai Center have been providing home-cooked dinners to the homeless guests at Hackney Night Shelter on the third Sunday of each month. If you are interested in cooking for around 10 to 12 guests, please contact Sister Shankavi, Vidya, or Brother Arun. The next month's service is the 15th of January 2023, but you can also choose any other date that works for you. If you are unable to drop it off at the shelter, we can try to arrange for someone to drop it off for you if it's brought to the center on that Sunday morning. Staying connected. There are various ways you can stay connected to the center and the activities via the Mill Hill Sai Center group on the Signal app. Once you have downloaded the Signal app, you can scan the QR code to join the group. You can also keep up to date with the various announcements and events via the website millhillsaicenter.org or the center's Instagram page. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share these via email to millhill.centerchair@gmail.com. This brings us to the end of the morning program. As part of our Christmas celebrations for today, we have pizza as Swami's Prasadam in the kitchen. May I please ask the Bal Vikas teachers to lead the children there while the adults wait here. Thank you, and Jai Sai Ram.